Namaskaram, students. What we will do, we will look at SCERT, the state syllabus, English medium, Kerala school syllabus, mathematics, 10th class, chapter wise, as a general introduction. It will help you to understand the basics, understand the purpose of study. It's like defining an objective and scope with an introduction. Definitely you will have to go through the class. If you have some doubts, any point of time you could ask me. But the idea is each day, probably, or each one video which I am going to do here, we'll finish one chapter at a stretch. I'm sure in a class it doesn't happen because you have maybe 11 chapters. So your whole mathematics cannot be finished in 11 days. But understanding the chapter for all its purposes with a real objective and scope. Looking at mathematics as a person who understand it generic. So in that view, we will cover. The first chapter is arithmetic sequence. Arithmetic means whatever you do with the numbers is called arithmetic. So multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, all that is called arithmetic. So it always play with the numbers. Second one, it's a sequence. Sequence means anything which you put in some order. Some logic will be there. So arithmetic sequence generally is a highly logical subject. For the same reason, this chapter is very, very important because throughout your life, whichever competitive exam you go, all of them will have some questions on arithmetic sequence. Actually, it is more logic, less of mathematics. In fact, mathematics is full of logic. So this is one chapter which will tell you the relationship between mathematics and logic. Here, the chapter itself is put in a very beautiful style. Look at these figures, understand the figure. Though it talks about numbers, the chapter doesn't start with numbers. It's starting with the figures. So you have a triangle here, which has got 3 sides. Add one more triangle, but the number of sides will not become 3 plus 3, 6. It becomes 5 because one side you can put it as common and then put another triangle there. When you add one more triangle, logically you think that 3 sides multiplied by 3 triangle, it will become 9 sides. It doesn't, because there are 2 sides which are common, though it will become 7. So you have one triangle which is 3 number, another with 5, another with 7. Right? So when the title itself is arithmetic sequence and this figure is given, logically a student must be able to think that this is how arithmetic sequence is. If you can understand this logic, I'm sure you can understand the whole chapter and you can win any competitive exams. So it's like a game. It's like logical reasoning in, even if after master's program, MSc, MA, MCom, if you want to get into teaching, they have one paper which is under the NET examination, National Eligibility Test Examination, in which this chapter is very, very useful because this is how the sequence is created. This is full of logic. Okay. So here now you have another one, a square with 4 sides. Then immediately another square is added. So 4, the next one will not be 10 because 1 is common. So you have 9, right? So likewise, you can analyze numbers in terms of figures. And they have given a circle and division. When you put one line, it divides into 2. When you put 2 lines or 3 lines, it adds up. So you'll have to count these to find out. there is a sequence, another sequence created with the triangle itself in two different style. Okay, so look at them. How is it made? What is the difference? The number in order. Yeah, it's given here. 3, 5, 7, 9, 4, 7, 10, 13. So you know this is the first sequence of triangle adding to one another, and this is for square adding to one another. Okay, so you see we have reached up to page 8. Just understanding the logic, right? And the pattern of the triangle which is above will give you a bigger number. So count that and then find out. So such sequence, when you write, it becomes a logic behind understanding the series of numbers, putting in a very specific order with a logic. That is called the chapter name. What is the chapter name? Forgot? The chapter name is arithmetic sequence. So understand that this is how the sequence is created. It may not be that simple if you are not well acquainted with this trick. If you are thorough with this trick, see, multiple of 3, division by 3, division by 2, your arithmetic progression, geometric progression, these are all very simplest arithmetic sequence. 1, 3, 5, 7 with a separation or difference of 2. Multiplication tables are geometric progressions. 1, 10. Traditionally, the Bharatiya Shastra, we had the Rudram Chamakam, in which Ekachame, Ekachame, Trishyashchame, Trishyashchame, Panchachame, Panchachame, Saptachame, Saptachame, 1, 3, 5, 7. It was arithmetic progression. Ekamcha, Ekamcha, Dashamcha, Dashamcha, Shatamcha, Shatamcha, Sahasramcha, Sahasramcha, Ayudamcha, Ayudamcha, Prayudamcha, Niyutamcha. This was geometric progression. These are all arithmetic sequence. The same, with a different pattern, you keep learning it, right? So the number sequence have got a different, it need not be always in increasing order, it could be decreasing order. It could be alternate increase and decrease and increase and decrease, because you may add 9 first and then subtract 9, then add 9 and then subtract 9. So you know the fourth one could be adding 9, right? So it could be in any sequence. Right? Add, the growth can be add and go forth. See, there is a subtitle here. The number sequence examples are given here. Look at them, understand what is that pattern in which it has been written. So when you look at so many such different examples, I'm sure you will be able to understand. The natural number sequence, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a natural number sequence. The addition, subtraction, addition of all these numbers together, there are different formulas and such things which are created out of the sequence adding together and such things. They're all arithmetic. Anything to do with the numbers adding, subtracting, multiplying, division, all these are called arithmetic. So this comes under general arithmetic. Now you have see the progression. You've got what is called a parallel progression. The parallel progression is you have got a triangle written, only the height keeps changing. So you look at, it's all 90 degrees, so it's a right angle triangle. So look at the sequence in which it increases. Say for example, this is 2 side and then this is 1, 1, 1, 1 added together. Then all that what you get as the hypotenuse, these length can be another sequence, right? So this is one triangle, one sequence. The distance from here to here, that becomes another next number. Distance from here to here can be another number. Distance from here to here can be another number. So you know the right angle triangle equation, so you can compute and find out what is this distance, or what is the metric for that, right? The magnitude for that will give you a sequence. Then addition and subtraction, as I told you, it need not be all the time adding, it can be adding, subtracting and such things. When the shape changes slightly, you have got, see, the lengths are also, are there length also in arithmetic sequence is the question. So you'll have to answer it, logically look at it and then find out. We are not solving problems now, we are only logically understanding. It's like you are getting into a house, you don't go inside the rooms, you see the diagram from outside, go around once and look at how is it created, what is the shape of the plot, how many rooms could be there. You look from outside, then you get inside each of the room, then you can explore it much better. Okay, so now we are not learning the chapter, we are not getting into each room to understand what is inside. This is only to give a little understanding of how is it created, what are the things which it has, right? It's like an abstract synopsis, a gist of the chapter. That is what we plan to do here. The addition and subtraction, this is what is here, the subtitle, right? So there are some examples on that. And geometry of arithmetic sequence. Assume that we learned from a figure to numbers. Similar way, we can create a number and then draw the figure. That's another method. That is what it says, geometry of arithmetic sequence. You understand the geometry, then get into the sequence. That is what it says, right? Now, the back and forth. What are all the expressions which are used? Now, polynomials. See, for example, where any relationship can be put into, suppose you have got a distance and then you don't know the difference between the first number and second number. You write it as x. And then identify each of them and look at the number and create a formula for your sequence. That is what it calls back and forth. From the numbers, you create a formula. From that formula, you create the next number. That is using your normal abstract mathematics. A number put into A, assume that it is A, starting number is A, the distance is B. Then how is it done? Suppose A and B and C are A, B, C numbers. Then the difference between B and A and C and B are equal. Then it becomes a geometric progression sort of a thing, right? That is how you identify. So such problems are there. These are all very, when you look at such problems, you must understand this is how most of the competitive exams questions are created. So do thoroughly these exercises which will help you in passing any competitive exams. The position and term. So when you understand the sequence, there is a position and a term. How is it done? It is the second term or third term. How many terms are there? The sequence, each one of them. Every sequence, the number ordered from first, second and so on, generally they are called terms, right? That is how it is mentioned. And the 13th term is given, first term is given, they are all given in terms of equation. Then I am sure you know how the relationship has to be obtained. That is what it says. The 13th term is 2 plus 12 into 5, that is equal to 62. Then from there you can compute back and then find out. That is why it is called a back and forth, right? The pairs of equations will be, sometime one equation is not good enough. You will get two different relationships, put them into together. You find two equations which has to be solved together sometime or separate to find out. The sequence and reminders. So some of the gist of this, the sequence in algebra is given, which you will have to, first was with the figure, understanding it. Now algebra is full of numbers. Algebra is addition, subtraction, finite number of terms which adds together is called algebra. Later in higher mathematics, when you learn in colleges and all, you will learn what is called a sequence, in which algebra is finite. You can know how many numbers have to be added, how many numbers have to be subtracted and all that. Sequence is which goes etc. So from the finite number, you write a sequence, it becomes infinite. So here the algebra of numbers is what is given. Sequence is continuous, infinite, which is not one or two number, countable, not necessarily countable, it goes. So algebraic expressions as polynomials for algebra, which defines a sequence later. Sequence is, understand, it's always like a array which goes to infinite. It is not finite number. So algebra is for the finite number, the rest is given etc. The continuation, dot. That is what it says. Okay. So natural number sequence is a geometric progression, normal, the simplest one. Okay. Now here, where is it applied? For example, you have got a compound interest which is calculated on something which says for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, it's like this. Then after some time, how it will become. So compound interest computation, interest computation, such algebra and arithmetic progressions are used for commerce, accountancy and such subjects. Generally, that is what is where the applications are. Now here you have got some hasty conclusions. What is that? We discussed the problem on the number parts of a circle got into numbers based on the number, etc. That becomes like a sequence, and that sequence, how is it obtained? 30 parts, 31 parts, that is what is being explained. So when you make a 30 parts into 31 parts, the number of portions which are inside will become double and double, and it goes into some other sequence. So such formulas are divided. You will have to learn and look at it. What is the difference? How many numbers are created? How is it multiplies? How multiple number of portions are generated? That is what is to be understood. The language of laws. Now, the relationship, formula, algebra, there is something which operates on two numbers and creates something. You have got a specific law of formation, and such formation is what is explained here in terms of seen for examples of how much rules can be written in algebra. And such rules, law means rules in actually. We have got a specific rules, and such rules, how can you write? That is what is explained here. There is a beautiful cartoon also there. You can look at it, right? So this is how explanations of writing rules and the mathematical rule. How is it generated? How is it created? That is what is written there. Now, I was telling that once you write a sequence, you have got 1, 2, 3, etc. up to 50. This is what is to be computed. How do you compute this? It's very simple. How do you do that? Now, what you do is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to 50. Now, what is to be done? You write same number 50 here, 49 here, 48 here, and in the sequence you write the same sequence 1, 2, 3 up to 50 in the reverse order. Then what you will get? You will get 50 here, 49 here, 48 here, etc. 1 here. So assume that you are adding together and then writing. So 1 plus 50 will become 51, 2 plus 49 is below. 2 plus 49 will become 51, 3 plus 48 will become 51. Here last 50 below that, how much we have written? What is that number we have written? 1. So that will become 51. So how many such 51s are there? Total number is 50, and each one added together we got 51. So the total will become 50 into 51. But we are not supposed to add 2 times, only once. For the trick we have added together. So exact multiply, the added together the number will become half of that number. So that is why it is written as half into 50 into 51. I guess you understood. What is to be done? The 1, 2, 3, 4 example up to 50 is there. You write in the reverse order, 50 here, 49 here, 48 here. Listen to this portion of the video once again if you don't understand. I'm sure you start writing it by yourself, then you will understand. Not even when I use a board and then start writing, it will not be clear. You can read mathematics, but while reading, you use a pen and paper, start writing it. That is how mathematics is to be learned. Don't read like this the way I am reading. If you want to learn it thoroughly, you have to use a paper and pen, start writing whatever you have, and then that will become clear for you. This is what is to be done. Okay. Now here, this is just as an example how the formula is created, the rule is created. That's how the rule is created. Look at the sequence and series and then define how the rules have to be created. So you are creating a rule for applying for understanding or creating mathematics much more simpler. This is how mathematics is made simple. So this is a logic. Instead of adding 1, 2, 3 up to 50, I am writing in the reverse order, adding it together. Then I know it is 2 times I added, therefore divided by half. This is logic. So arithmetic, sequence, logic, all are same. If you understand the logic, maths becomes very simple. This is what I keep telling. So another way, there are few examples given with the formulas in the same sequence. I have explained you the simple one. When you read together, maybe when you look at it as a problem, you understand it better, right? So that is how the sum of sequences together, how it is created is what is done. And they have given a project. Try to do that. If you don't understand, you have my number here. Anytime you could call, ask any clarifications on this. And we will keep continuing with another few chapters. Maybe not every day, or maybe some days whenever I feel. So roughly we will have 20 minutes to half an hour to cover one chapter at a glance. I'm sure this will give you an overall idea about your syllabus. And this gives you a feeling that it is very simple. Let me see whether I can not only mathematics, let me finish the whole 10th class syllabus like this. I have my earlier teaching on maths, English, Hindi, Malayalam, science, all of them are there in some part of the YouTube. Just look at Dr. TPS and put the subject and 10th class. I'm sure you will get those. Sitting in front my students from my village, I have done some few classes. Earlier also I have done, but I lost a few records. But let me see whether I can record it like this. And in case required, probably a more detailed class on any of them with specific problem solving will be my attempt later. Thank you. God bless you. Look for more videos from me in the sequence of teaching mathematics, right? God bless you. Thank you. So what we have done today is the whole of arithmetic sequence, which is the first chapter for SCERT English medium mathematics for Kerala syllabus.